So hello everyone, and thank you for registering to this info session on our XBridge program. I am Suchi Smita, the recruiting manager here at BioMed X, and so this info session has been specially organized to give you a detailed insight on what the program is about and everything. So welcome everyone, and also to the people who are joining in now. So I'll hand over to Christian Tidona for taking over and presenting us with all the information that he has.
Thank you so much, Suchi. Welcome everyone to this info session. Very nice having you on board. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are at the moment. My name is Christian Tidona. I'm the founder and also the CEO of BioMed X. And today, as Suchi mentioned, I'm going to give you first a couple of insights about how our BioMed X Institute works, so you better understand what it's all about, and then especially about our new XBridge program, which is supposed to help the scientific community in the United States at the moment. So Suchi, if you agree, I can share my screen. Okay, thank you so much. If you have questions, please type them in the Q&A box, and then Suchi will help bringing forward these questions, and then we will try to answer all of them. But of course, you can start anytime. Let me quickly try and share my screen. Here we go. So, okay. I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes.
Very good. Good. So maybe before we start, a little bit of background about myself so that you understand where I'm coming from and why I'm saying certain things I'm saying. I'm a molecular biologist and virologist by training, did my PhD in this beautiful town behind me, Heidelberg, Germany. But I always had two hearts in my chest, one of a scientist and one of an entrepreneur. I started my first company during my PhD, diagnostics company, then a cell therapy company, then a cancer stem cell institute called HiStem. In 2009, I was responsible for the biotechnology cluster in Heidelberg, managing a very large grant between academia and industry. And in 2013, I started my own biomedical research institute, which is very close to my heart because my passion, my focus is building world-class innovation ecosystems. We started in 2013, so roughly 11 and a half years ago, on the campus of the University of Heidelberg. And we're embedded in this campus in Heidelberg, and meanwhile also we're very close to Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut. At our sites, we are combining the best of the two worlds, academia and industry, and we're doing this in a very unique innovation process, which I published in 2015 in Nature Biotech. In a nutshell, what it does is it takes resources from the two different worlds, academia and industry, and with these resources, we seed biomedical innovation at this interface between academia and industry. So from the industry side, most importantly, we usually get challenges. We call them challenges. They're very big problems in biomedical research for which there's currently no solution, neither in academia, nor in industry, nor in biotech. And together with these challenges, we get a commitment for mentorship and also funding for research projects. From the academic side, usually we get access to talents globally, to project ideas, to academic mentorship, to human samples for our research, and also to academic IP and academic infrastructure. And in the end, when we build something that will hopefully ultimately help patients, or be at least a starting point for full-fledged drug discovery and development program, we deliver those solutions to our pharma partners. Our unique innovation process always starts with a very big challenge. And this is what I do most of my time. I spend a lot of time with research departments of pharma companies, and I help them to ask very big future questions in biomedical research. And once we have identified such a big question, we articulate it in a way that academic scientists have a very clear understanding what we're interested in building. And then we put it on our crowdsourcing platform and publish it worldwide at the best universities and research institutions, and invite usually, and that's different from our XBridge program, usually early career scientists to apply by submitting a very original project proposal, how to solve this particular challenge. And then usually we get several hundred applications from really worldwide, usually 60, 70, 80 different countries. And then together with our pharma partners, we select the 15 brightest individuals, and then we fly them in for a 5-day bootcamp to one of our sites where they see each other for the first time. And then we help them to combine the collection of academic ideas into something we would call a brilliant industry project proposal and pitch. It's a very intense bootcamp with lots of mentorship from academia and also from industry. And at the end, we usually have 5 brilliant 15-minute pitches in front of senior management of the sponsoring pharmaceutical company. And then we jointly select the winner, and that winner then enters the last phase, which is the co-creation phase. So usually we move the winner with his or her family to one of our institutes. We organize visa, jobs for their spouses, new homes, kindergarten, school, whatever they need. And then they live and work for up to 5 years in our institute, which is a fully equipped molecular and cell biology lab, very close to or on a university campus with access to the academic infrastructure. And usually these scientists, they get a research grant on average of $5 million for this 5-year project phase. And during this phase, they get a lot of mentorship from our industry mentors, but also from academic mentors worldwide, so key opinion leaders. And we put a lot of effort in making all our teams and their mentors collaborate with each other to solve these big problems. This is what such a bootcamp looks like. This is a very recent one. In the middle of May, we had a bootcamp together with Daiichi Sankyo. And here we were looking at strategies for targeting of new strategies for targeting of solid tumors with multispecific biologics. Little bit of history. We're doing this since 2013, and so far we've been working with 12 different pharmaceutical companies. You see their logos here. And also we just started collaborating with the Gates Foundation. At our mothership in Heidelberg, where we started, we have so far started 24 different research groups, most of them in oncology, immunology, or neuroscience. Since last year, we have a site close to Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut. We have our first project on site, and the next one is coming very soon. Then we have an adaptation of the model, which is going back to the question, what if we could a BioMed X incubator inside a pharmaceutical research and development campus? And we piloted this, we call it XSeed Labs, together with Boehringer Ingelheim, and we're now operating an XSeed Labs incubator inside the R&D site of Boehringer Ingelheim in Ridgefield, Connecticut. We are also working at the interface towards startups. We have a consortium in Israel called Ion Labs Venture Studio, where 4 different pharmaceutical companies collaborate: German Merck, Teva, Pfizer, and AstraZeneca, and also our technology partner is Amazon, so AWS, because here we're entirely focusing on AI for drug discovery and development. And the difference here is if you win a bootcamp at any of the other sites, you become a full-time employee of a BioMed X Institute, and you get something that looks like a research grant. If you win a bootcamp in Israel, you become the first employee and shareholder of your own startup, and the money is provided as an investment. And we've started 5 different startups in this field in the past 2 years. Then there's a new iteration which is coming online soon. It's called XFAM Labs, together with Gates Foundation. Very similar to the model we are running in Israel, where we want to build startups, but this time it is going to be entirely focused on women's health problems, and it will be based in Heidelberg at our home base. And last but not least, the last iteration is a new BioMed X Institute in Barbados, in collaboration with the government of Barbados and the European Commission. We just opened this in February together with the President of the European Commission and the Prime Minister of Barbados. And there we are going to conduct a significant epidemiological study in the local population, which is mostly of people of African descent. And we are going to build an AI model, let's call it a digital African twin, where we translate a treatment regimen that were developed for white individuals in the cardiometabolic space to the local Black population. So that's in a nutshell all our iterations. As I mentioned in the beginning, this is not the XBridge program. This is how BioMed X normally works, and it's very important you understand this before we can really explain what the XBridge program is all about. Our R&D focus and expertise is in 3 main technology areas, which go across all our research teams at all our sites. One of them is what we call human organotypic disease models. Almost all of our teams are working with primary human materials, some of them with whole human organs from multi-organ donors, and they're building very complex organotypic disease models of human disease. We received whole human intestines, for example, or whole human lungs for these very complex models that usually include multiple cell types, perfusion, and in many cases also the immune compartment to recapitulate human disease in a dish. Most of the teams are generating very deep multidimensional biological data sets, and this means that many of the teams have dedicated bioinformaticians or AI and machine learning experts, and some of the teams are developing physical sensors, so something that is really something you can touch, while all the other teams are working with human cells or with bacteria, and sometimes in some cases. And you keep in mind that these scientists, that most of them have gone through this very rigorous selection process of our call and bootcamp. They all collaborate. They all help each other, despite the fact that they're sponsored by different pharmaceutical companies. And you can imagine that this is very fast iteration at this interface between academia and industry. We all help each other. We're also collaborating with 60 academic institutions worldwide, some of the logos you see here. And the interesting part is that because we operate like an academic institute in most of the cases, we get non-commercial terms to use their technologies in our labs. The most important about BioMed X is our core values. And if you have time and visit us at some of our sites, you will always see these core values on our wall. And the first one is cross-leverage. We inspire and motivate each other to unleash our full potential. So what does it mean? At BioMed X, it's very important that we all help each other, we all support each other, and we embrace the concept of growing by helping others. And this is why we are having these very tough boot camps. Every research group leader that comes to BioMed X has gone through such a boot camp. And it's very important that people are not just great scientists, but also great people to work with, great human beings that will always help others to become great scientists and get great results. Second is cross-pollinate. We embrace diversity as it is the source of innovation. Despite some of the tendencies of the current government in the United States, we will always embrace diversity because it's very important that we have people from all kinds of backgrounds looking upon the same problem and solving the problem from a different perspective. And this diversity is at the very basis of our innovation process and our culture at BioMed X. And last but not least, we aim high. Our goal is to enable a new generation of targeted therapies. So we only focus on research problems which are very big, unsolved problems that require a very elegant, very unique experimental approach to be solved. And we want to create impact. We want to translate more of the great science that's happening in academia into something that will ultimately help patients. That's what drives all of us. This is our core asset. It's our so-called career space. This is a platform where everyone that enters BioMed X needs to register and apply. This is true for all our calls for application, but on this platform, we also publish all our job offers at all our sites. And currently, there are roughly 13,000 early career researchers mostly who are registered on the system and get exposed to all our job opportunities and calls. Where do all these researchers come from at BioMed X? We have roughly 300 alumni so far, and they come from all the top schools. But more importantly, where do they go after BioMed X? And BioMed X is perceived by early careers, especially early career scientists, as a stepping stone into a potential career to industry. And what we see is after the 3 to 5 year project, we help every one of our fellows to get to their next dream position, and about 50% transition to industry, while the other 50% go back to academia and become professors. And this is possible because at BioMed X, we also put a lot of focus on publishing in peer-reviewed journals. So if you join BioMed X, you will not have a gap in your publication record, and you can always go back to academia and become a professor or continue your professorship. Our value proposition for talents, first and foremost, a fully funded 3 to 5 year research group with very generous funding, usually. Entire focus on outstanding research and publications, a creative cross-cultural teamwork atmosphere. In Heidelberg, for example, we come from more than 25 different nations. Guidance of experienced mentors from academia and industry, and especially this very close industry contact is very important. Every team sees their mentors once a month, interacts with them, discusses experiments. So it's really a very collaborative co-creation atmosphere. An outstanding environment with direct access to leading research institutions and companies. This is the case at all our sites. We're always very close to a major academic institution. And the ones who are interested in further developing their career get leadership and entrepreneurship training. And what I mentioned before, the most important reason to join BioMed X, and that's feedback we get from our former fellows, is a risk-free assessment of a possible future career in a startup or big company. Now, coming a little closer to our XBridge program, we already have a footprint in the US. We started our first bootcamp, which you see here on the right side, together with AbbVie pharma company, a global pharma company, in May 2023. And also we have run another bootcamp with a team which is now in this XBridge close by to New Haven in Ridgefield, Connecticut, at the campus of Boehringer Ingelheim, our partner Boehringer Ingelheim. And in June last year, we had our great opening. We're right next to New Haven Green, in the middle of New Haven. And we got a lot of attention. What you see here, for example, is a picture of the governor of Connecticut, Ned Lamont, who was joining the opening event, also the mayor of New Haven, and also the head of Yale Ventures, George Gibel, who was there giving a speech. And on the right side, you see our US head of research, John Lindner. And on the left side, speaking to the people, and also in the middle, you see our US CEO, Mark Johnston. So our local team. As I mentioned, we just published a new call for application for our XSEED labs in Ridgefield, Connecticut, in this incubator with Boehringer Ingelheim. This is just to quickly mention. It will be in ophthalmology, so a new platform for next generation intraocular biologics. And the link is here. And I believe we're also going to put the video of this webinar and also the links onto our website, so you can see this anytime. Now, let's come to the XBridge program. When we saw the devastating news in the United States that obviously the new government is stopping NIH funding and giving universities in the United States a very hard time to continue doing their great research, we thought, well, we need to help in some way. And the idea was to open our platform, which is usually was developed as a crowdsourcing platform. And we thought we could also use this as a matchmaking platform for individuals based in the United States who have lost their NIH funding. And the way it works is that we've published a completely open call for application. We never did this before, so it's an experiment. We've published a completely open call for application on April 7th. It will stay open until end of September at least. And we invite with this call any US-based principal investigator or postdoc in biomedical research to register on this XBridge program on our career space and follow the following process in order to get access to pharma funding. So the first step is that applicants submit their project proposals at our career space, career.bmedx.com. And this is under very strict privacy policy. You can read that on our website, and also when you register on our system. We're a German company, so we're bound to very tight GDPR and privacy. And we make sure that your applications only get seen by individuals in the pharma industry who are supposed to see it because they have signed very strict confidentiality agreement with us. And these XBridge partner organizations, we call them XBridge partner organizations, they have signed a separate agreement where they guarantee confidentiality, where we restrict access only to the applications which match their particular search criteria, and only up to 5 people in each of the companies gets access, and they need to delete everything in case they will not collaborate with you. So your data are safe, but still, despite the fact that they're safe, what we've seen in our system is that some applicants have already uploaded your entire NIH grant proposal document. We actually don't want this level of detail. We don't want to see the financials of your institute. We just want to see the scientific project proposal. So please be so kind and just cut off the bits and pieces from your grant proposal so that we only get to see the science and not the financials. The selected applicants, we will then provide some of these applications in a very strictly regulated process to some of our pharma partners under this XBridge partner agreement, and these selected applicants will then, and they can select up to 10 individuals, each pharma company, which we then will invite to a so-called pitch day, and where they can present their proposal, again, under confidentiality to this particular pharma company. And there's 2 potential outcomes. The first outcome would be that the pharma company makes a direct offer to the scientist to run their project under our existing framework agreement with that particular pharma company at one of our BioMed X Institutes, either in the US or in Germany. But this is not a prerequisite. This is just an option. If you prefer to collaborate directly with this pharma company, you can stay at your current institution, and we'll facilitate the negotiation of a sponsored research agreement between yourself and the pharma partner. So we're very flexible in that respect. And in this case, it's not the primary motivation is not that we grow our business. The primary motivation is that we help researchers in the United States. Little more detail around this application process. So as I mentioned, we started April 7, and the call will be open at least until end of September. Applicants can then upload the research part of the NIH grant proposals to the career space. It's just a couple of clicks. Then BioMed X and each XBridge partner will select up to 10 best applicants that match the search criteria of this particular pharma company. Then BioMed X will invite selected applicants to a pitch day. The current plan is to do it virtual, to be a little more flexible. But in case everybody is already on the East Coast, we can also hold these pitch days at our facility in New Haven. Then BioMed X will brief the applicants that are selected for the pitch day how to prepare a compelling 15-minute pitch. So you'll get a training, maybe a summarized version of what we usually do during our boot camps. And then you will pitch your project proposal at the pitch day in front of researchers of that particular pharma company. The pharma company can then select together with us some winners. And with these winners, we will then discuss in individual meetings how to proceed, what could be the opportunities. Of course, the goal is to continue funding their research of the applicants. But in some cases, we expect that there needs to be a little refinement of the project plan to meet research milestones, which are really interesting for the sponsoring pharma company. We have to acknowledge that this is a different source of funding, which of course needs to be focused on something that can lead towards IP generation for this particular pharma company. We will also discuss the required team size, the duration of the project, and the details of the research budget, and also the location. Of course, our BioMed X Institutes are open to host the scientists from other US institutions, but as I said, this is not a prerequisite. We're very happy to keep the scientists at the institution where they are and then facilitate a sponsored research agreement. And we expect, if everything goes well, I mean, openly, this is an experiment. We have no track record, no data on using our platform for matchmaking. So at the moment, we're all very eager to see what's going to happen, but we cannot guarantee anything. But if everything goes well, I would expect the first funding of these submitted project proposals to start in Q4 of this year or Q1 of next year. So final slide, if you're really interested in exploring the opportunity of acquiring funding from our pharma partners for your research project, please feel free to register on our platform. You can read more at the link that is shown below. That's the call publication, and you can register on our platform, career.biomedx.com. And with that, I'm very happy to answer any questions you might have. Back to you, Suchi.
Thank you so much, Christian. That was really informative, I think. But we already have some questions coming in. I would jump into the first one from Alexander. Hello, Alexander. Thank you for the wonderful talk. I'm curious if there is any flexibility with the research in the BRIDGE program taking place at the applicant's home institution rather than in Germany or New Haven.
Yes, of course, we have this flexibility. As I mentioned, we want to help. In some cases, it might take longer to negotiate from scratch a sponsored research agreement between a pharma partner and the current host organization. That's the only disadvantage, because we have framework agreements with our pharma partners in place under which we can start project funding immediately in case the researcher is interested in moving to one of our institutes. But if that is not desired, we will facilitate the negotiation of a sponsored research agreement. So yes, you can stay at your home institution, of course.
Great. So the next question would be from Neleke. The question is BioMed X interested in funding neuromodulation projects, DBS, or transcutaneous spinal cord stimulation? Yeah.
Okay, so we have at BioMed X. Yeah, that's hard for you.
Specific question, I would say.
No worries. But I got the question. So we have.
I think we can't hear you, Christian.
Oh, can you hear me? Test. Hello? Can you hear me, Suchi?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, yeah,
okay.
You can answer.
Thank you very much, Maria. I think Suchi is has an internet.
Not yet. I think maybe if you can
I think
mute and then unmute again. Yeah.
Everyone can hear me. To answer the question, we have lots of neuroscience projects. We had quite a few neuroscience projects in the past, from psychiatric diseases to neurodegenerative diseases. And of course, since the XBridge program is completely open, I would expect quite a few pharma companies to add to the XBridge agreement a search space in the neurosciences. So yes, it's worthwhile uploading your neuroscience project proposal to the XBridge program. And even if you don't get selected by any of the current pharma companies under the XBridge program, there is several neuroscience projects in our pipeline which will be published, where the calls will be published very soon. I hope this answers your question. Until Suchi gets back, I can maybe try to look at the Q&A myself. 1 second. So let's see. There's from Florencia. What is the expected level of support? I do not really understand the question because we do not expect support from you, but the support we provide, maybe that's the question. The support we provide is we facilitate the communication between you and our XBridge partner organizations. And as soon as they're interested in learning more about you and you get invited to one of our pitch days, then you will get in direct contact with researchers from this pharma company, and then we will facilitate the communication until you have direct contact, and then you can communicate directly. And let's maybe go to the next question. How many applications will XBridge fund for researchers impacted by the NIH? We don't know yet. At the moment, we have requests from 12 different pharmaceutical companies to sign an XBridge agreement. So we've sent out the drafts of those agreements. One of these 12 have already been signed, and I personally expect at least 5 or 6 of those agreements to close. So my gut feeling is that, I don't know at the moment, but I would expect at least 3, 4, 5 of those projects in the end will get funding. Could be much more, could be less. Very sorry that we do not have any information about this at the moment. So we're doing our best to help. Suchi, can you hear me again?
She tried to log off and log in again, but apparently not.
I'll continue.
You read it. Okay, good. Yeah.
I can read it. So there is an anonymous participant who asked, I would like to have the pitch done virtual. Is this a desired mode of participation if selected? Thank you. Yes, so that's our preferred way, how we would do the pitch day as a virtual meeting, so people don't have to spend an entire day or several days to visit us at our site. So I expect most of these virtual of these pitch events to be virtual. So, and in any case, even if it's in person and you cannot participate, we'll make it a hybrid so you can participate from wherever you are. There is another one from Saba. Hi, thanks for the great information. Could you please explain about patent policy and idea protection? And also if a grad student can submit an application in collaboration with a PI. Very good question, Saba. So let's first answer about IP. Now here comes the difference to our normal BioMed X model. Normally, as I presented in the beginning, our BioMed X model starts with a question for which there's currently no solution. So which means there is no pre-IP. Now with our XBridge program, we expect that the starting point is an interrupted, already ongoing NIH-funded research project, which means there is pre-IP, which of course is owned by your current employer, so by your current institution. So if you should decide jointly with the pharma partner to continue the research project based on your previous data and materials, then of course the pharma partner or BioMed X, if it's going to be at BioMed X, we would need to take a license from your current home institution. And we're doing this all the time. So this is not something that is very complicated or we have no experience in. So that's something we can do. Now coming to your and always anything you have developed before you join BioMed X or before you collaborate with a pharma partner will always be owned by your current home institution. What happens after you get the funding from pharma depends on the agreement, on the framework agreement under which this is being done. Usually it's shared IP between your previous institution and your new employer. Now coming to grad student. Yes, of course, you're welcome to send us a project proposal, even if as a grad student or postdoc, you have lost your position, the funding for your position, and you're not yet a PI, and you have a great idea for a project proposal. Of course, you can submit that by yourself, or if you want to motivate your current PI, that's also a good way of doing it, then you submit jointly, and you just indicate in our application system that this is a joint application because you can only register as an individual in our system. And once you submit the application, your PI should register as well. And then you mention the name of your PI or your PI mentions you in the application. And then we know it's a joint application. So no problem. And of course, you're welcome. There is from Velvet, there is a question, and what therapeutic areas are priority? So we kept it completely open, and the pharma companies with whom we collaborate, they have a very wide range of different therapeutic areas in which they're interested. Of course, there is a lot of mainstream interest in oncology, immunology, neurosciences, cardiometabolic disease, and maybe, but there's also rare genetic diseases. There are lots of different indications. So I would not restrict, or I would recommend that you don't restrict yourself to a certain therapeutic area. You submit your idea or your project proposal, and we try to match you with a pharma company that is interested in your field of research. There's another question from John, which says, I'm developing a novel coronary artery vasodilator that has high potency and what appears to be a novel mechanism. We already have data in human coronary arteries ex vivo showing superiority to existing therapeutics. So why my phase 2 SBIR was just rejected? Are your industry partners interested in a novel therapy for refractory angina pectoris? So as I mentioned, we're completely open, and even in this case, even if it's a medical device, so I don't have enough information whether this is a medical device or it's a drug, but we're mainly focused on human disease biology. So it should be something that is showing a new mechanism of action. And if there is a medical device involved, it's not a no-go, but it's not preferred because we're working with pharmaceutical companies. So they're usually not very familiar with medical devices. But this could be, if I read your text correctly, this could also be a drug, which is perfectly in scope with some of the companies we're working with. Suchi, are you back? Okay, it seems we have some trouble with the sound. Doesn't matter, I'll continue. So there is a question from Radia. I am a clinical pharmacologist from South Africa and wanted to check if there was a program specifically that I should be applying for, since I see that the open call is for US applicants specifically. So once you're registered in our system, in our career space, and you indicate that you would be open to get an email whenever we publish a new call for application, then you will get a friendly email whenever we publish a new call, and then you can apply with your profile in our system whenever we publish a new call. Currently, indeed, the XBridge program is reserved for people who are based in the United States. So you wouldn't need to wait until we publish a call that is within your field of interest. Again, a question from Florencia. Thank you, Christian. I meant to ask, what is the expected grant budget? I understand there is a range. Very good point, Florencia. So at the moment, we kept it completely open. But of course, our pharma companies are only prepared to fund things within a certain range, which is a guesswork at the moment. So my gut feeling is, if it's a very small project, just a couple of $100,000, then it's probably not worth the effort for a sponsored research agreement, because that is quite difficult to negotiate between a pharma company and a university. So it should be something that is, I would say, above $250,000. And then the upper limit, I would say somewhere around $10 million. Projects that are much larger are not within at least the scope of the companies we are working with. So most of our projects are between $3 and $7 million. But we don't know. So if you want to pitch a bigger or a smaller project, try it. We'll match it with interested pharma companies of our XBridge partners. And it could be that you generate some interest even with a smaller or much larger project. There's another anonymous one. Is it correct that only projects that will potentially result in IP related to the pharmaceutical industry will be considered for funding? So you need to keep in mind always where the money comes from whenever you do research and wherever you are. So if it's a funding agency, government funding agency, they will have their focus areas. And if it's a pharma company, they will have focus areas as well. And you need to acknowledge, of course, a pharma company is not there to sponsor non-for-profit basic research. So there needs to be an application in their field of interest, and they need to get access to the IP somehow. So it should be something that has some future application. But what I can say is almost all of the projects at BioMed X so far, and in our ecosystem, we've started more than 30 research groups in different fields. Most of the time, we get funding for deep exploratory biology. So it's about very novel biology, which has not yet been discovered. It's about new identification and validation of novel therapeutic targets, for example. And there's a lot of room for exploration. So we're not talking about you becoming a service provider for some pharma company and then doing exactly what they tell you. It's about exploratory research, but where you give access to a pharma company to the results. And that, of course, if you stay at your home institution, your tech transfer office will make sure that this actually happens. There's another question from Amir. Hi, Amir. Good to see you among the audience. Thank you for giving us this opportunity between Heidelberg or US. Which one to choose for the winners? This is something I would leave completely up to the applicant and to the pharma company. So if, for example, you have an ongoing green card program in the United States and you don't want to lose it, of course, if you want to join the BioMed X Institute, there's only the one in New Haven. If you don't care and if you want to leave the United States, of course, we're happy to host you in Heidelberg. In Heidelberg, it's very easy to get a work visa for you and your family, your spouse. And we can move you within 2 months to Europe with a work visa, so-called blue card, and you can start working in our labs. And as I said, if you prefer staying at your home institution in the United States, that's fine as well. There's another question from Darren. If there are multiple PIs on a study from different institutes, how should this be handled? Oh, that's a good question. So this is an experiment. We don't know. What we know is if we find on the demand side, which is the pharma interest for what you're working on, we will jointly find ways to get the partners that are necessary to run this project into the same boat and make them negotiate a sponsored research agreement. And if it's two academic institutions, I mean, this happens all the time. There's lots of consortia where you have multiple partners in academia and multiple partners on the industry side. It just makes negotiations a little more difficult. But I guess we will find a solution. And at BioMed X, as I mentioned, we're collaborating with more than 60 academic institutions in parallel. So should not be too much of a problem. It just takes time. There is one from Christina, and she said, of the two opportunities that you discussed, the institute seemed to target early career researchers, while the bridge option is open to faculty at different phases of their career. Is that the correct understanding? Yes. So a typical BioMed X project, the ones who apply as group leader candidates are usually first-time group leaders. So people who have finished their PhD and have maybe completed their first postdoc and feel ready to lead a team. But I have to emphasize that we never exclude anyone based on age. We're not discriminating by age. And at some of our boot camps, we had people who were well into their 50s and 60s and who really enjoyed this very vibrant and fast-thinking environment. So it depends actually on the person. But what I would expect is that the ones who apply for the XBridge program are most of the time established PIs who have lost the NIH grant funding. And this means that most of the time they will either stay at the home institution, or this is also an option we discussed with some of the tech transfer offices we talked to in the past 4 weeks. We can agree on a sabbatical agreement. So where the university agrees that the scientist, the PI, comes for a certain period of time to a BioMed X Institute, and then will get back to their own either tenure track or tenured position at their current institution. That is possible as well. And there's another one from Amir. I'm not very good at speaking English. I'm worried if I won't be able to defend my proposal well. The way how you type, you seem to me like you're quite fluent in English. If not, there is training. We do provide training before the actual pitch presentation. And if English is a problem, then you need to at least learn part of your pitch maybe by heart, and we will help you to do this. But usually, you know, all of us at BioMed X, we all come from different countries, and we're all not, it's all for all of us, not our mother tongue. And pharma companies know about this. So I don't think it's going to be a handicap unless you do not really understand any English. But then you can also use modern technology and have a simultaneous AI translator. That might work as well. I don't see additional questions. Suchi, if you can hear me, or Maria in the background.
No, there are no more questions.
No more further questions. Anything I forgot, Maria, which I should mention? And for everyone online, this is the last opportunity to type in a question.
Yeah, maybe if anybody has any further question, you can feel free to send us an email to marketing@biomedx.com. And you will receive the link of the recording from today's presentation.
Very good point. So, wait, there is another question coming in. It's very difficult for me to see.
No, this is the.
Oh, there's one at the top. Anonymous participant. Do you ever consider supporting social scientists as part of a larger team, thinking about behavioral health? So I consider behavioral sciences as part of the life sciences, and in fact, we had behavioral parts in our neuroscience projects that have a component, at least in psychiatric disorders. So I would not exclude someone who is an expert in behavioral health that they will be part of a team, or that their proposal could be picked up by a pharmaceutical company. So that is within scope. unless it's really hardcore social sciences, which do not have a typical biological behavioral aspect, then it would be difficult finding someone among the pharma companies. And I think that's it if I'm scrolling through all the questions. So what remains is that I thank you all for participating in this info session. It's for us, as I mentioned, it's an experiment. We want to help. And if you have ideas how we could help even better, you're always welcome to send either an email to marketing@bmedx.com or to career@bmedx.com, which is the email account of our recruiting manager, Suchi. And if you have questions, you can find all our email addresses also on our website, and also the links to our XBridge program. So please stay tuned. We're going to publish many more calls in the near future for the ones who are interested in the BioMed X project, and we'll keep everyone updated about the development of our XBridge program. So thanks for visiting. Thanks, Suchi, and also Maria in the back for helping out. And I'm hoping to see many of you at our pitch days and at one of our boot camps. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. See ya.